Incredible, incredible, incredible greetings. Incredible, incredible, incredible greetings. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. Let's check our status over here. It's not even up yet on Facebook, so we're gonna refresh. Alrighty, there we go. Let's change our audience. And let's get this all shared out. How are you guys doing? Hello, hello, hello. As you guys come in, drop a hey, how you doing? All right. So, as you guys come in, if you are watching the playback of this is a live broadcast. So, whenever I am doing a live broadcast, I have to share it out. I have to wait for the algorithm to do its thing. So, there is, I guess some people call it dead air in the beginning, and we're not getting right into the nitty gritty of it all. Un momento. Sorry, have a little kid that wants me to put chapstick on his lips. All right. So, anywho, there is no well, the intro will come, but it's not an immediate intro. You got to give me a moment to get it all shared out, get some folk on, because these sessions are not necessarily like pre-planned or like your typical YouTube type videos. This is a live opportunity for you guys to get help and guidance from someone who is experienced in the things that you are trying to learn, that you desire to learn. So just give me a moment here to get this all shared out. I'll probably go back to how I used to do it, like just put like the little music like there, whatever. And once it's done, it's done. So it's not just straight silence. But follow the prompt on the screen. Drop a hey, how you doing? Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you do in the creative space. So whatever craft or creative things that you do or that you are interested in learning to do, that you have a desire to learn, something that is frustrating you, driving you crazy, you just can't figure it out. You just wish that someone would help you figure this thing out. Well, guess what? I am that someone. And I want to be able to help you. So share it out, like the video, comment. All of this digital love helps push the video so that more people can get the help that they need and desire. All right. So go ahead and do that for me, and we will be right back. Okay. right. Hello again, officially. Incredible greetings. I am Shakeya Lavelle, also known as Shakeya, the professor of HS Inc. 365, home of the honestly speaking brand of products, Saleaholics Anonymous 365 Creative Academy. This is a Saturday edition of Live with the Professor. Most times I am live during the daytime, on weekdays, and some of you guys are like, you're like at work, you may have questions, but you're at work, you can't really engage. So here is your weekend edition. And sometimes it's harder for me to do sessions in the evening because that's normally where that's normally the time frame when I'm hosting like my classes, my live classes via Zoom, or I'm in classes and programs and mentorships that I am a part of. Those normally happen in the evening. So it's a bit harder for me to do like the live videos all the time in the evening. But hey, here we are now. Hopefully, I have caught you guys at the right time. You're not too busy. Maybe you're in your craft space right now and something has you ready to scream. And it's like, oh my God, this is an answered prayer. It is right on time. I was just going crazy. So hopefully I caught you at the right time to be able to provide you guys help and assistance with whatever it is that you need guidance on. I come with 26 years of experience in some of everything, from designing to printing to party planning, decorating, paper crafting, sublimation, DTF, DTG, screen printing, balloon work, business in general. I'm a Shopify partner, so if you have questions on that, of course, I was a beginner like you guys and just starting out and just having all this experience. So I'm willing to share that 26 years of experience with you guys. But you just have to ask the questions, right? I don't know what you need to know. Like, of course, I have 26 years, but some of this information could be very, very overwhelming. It's not the information that you need at this juncture of your journey. So I don't want to just kind of just brain dump a whole bunch of stuff on you. I want to help you so that you can take action right now and be able to find success in some of the things that are frustrating you or just trying to figure out. We can always go over things like Silhouette and Canva. I'm going to show you some things as far as like designing and the importance of understanding proportions and setting up your design page correctly. So I am going to go over that kind of like in between some of your questions. But feel free, if you are watching right now, go ahead, start dropping your questions in the chat. You don't have to wait for me to answer one question to have yours. It's better if they are in the queue. Try to be as detailed as possible. I might have some follow-up questions for you, but try to be as detailed as possible in those requests and those inquiries and questions and things of that nature so that we can get you some real on-the-spot help, all right? So while we're waiting for those questions to be dropped in the chat, let's go ahead over to our comment section and say hello to a few folks. So hello, incredible greetings. Thank you so much for clicking on the notification when you saw it and choosing to spend part of your Saturday with us. Hello. I am amazing. How are you? Hello. Excuse me. Also from Dade County 305, baby. Incredible greetings. Hello. Incredible afternoon. Good afternoon to you as well. Okay. So let's just see if we can get these numbers up and get some folk on that need help. I try and do the Saturday edition because I know the weekdays does not work for everyone. Who here is going to drop our first question? It can be on Silhouette, Canva, Photoshop, just learning about or just questions about general crafts and things like that. Hello. Incredible greetings. Welcome. We appreciate each and every one of you being here with us today. Ooh, y'all hear my knuckles? All right, so let's start at least with tell me, guys, what is it that you guys do in the creative space? So what type of crafts are you into? And if you are doing it as a, just a hobby, a side hustle, are you trying to build a full-fledged business around what it is that you do? Let me know who's here and what it is that you guys do. Okay. Oh, see, someone is at work on the Saturday. So I try to do these to catch those who are normally at work during the week. But I know we also have people that are, work on the weekend as well. All right, today we have a very quiet audience. Or maybe I just chose the wrong time of day. Or I kind of used up my at followers, my at everyone, so I can't go live anymore today because I kind of used all that up. But we'll see. All right. So someone says, I am trying to build a full business a full business. Been crafting for about 35 years. Start to change my mindset since I've been following you. Okay. Hey. Welcome in. Now, when you say build a full business, are you someone that wants it to be your bread and butter, where it is your main source of income? Certain things should never, like, you should never have just one source of income, but are you wanting it to be one of your main source of income, and where you dedicate most of your time to, the success of it? Or do you want it to be something that you do at the same time with your current like career or job and things of that nature? Ooh, excuse me. I'm trying, but right now I work part time. And yes, okay. I will keep my part time as well because it's for bookkeeping. All right. Do you have an idea of how much income you want your business to generate? Okay. So, what is that number? Annually. So yeah, so I'm gonna at first ask this question. I have like a follow up. So annually, you would like for your business to generate how much income, or how much revenue, should I say? I've been in another subscriber program for 4 years, but for me, annually, my revenue would be okay. At least 50,000 is my goal. So, are you wanting 50,000 in profit, or for what you do to generate $50,000 in sales? I'm trying to cut a design. I print it portrait, but when it cuts wrong. 2 5 by 7. I print it in portrait, but when I cut it cuts. So Kim, are you using a silhouette cameo? Are you using Cricut, a portrait machine? What are you using to cut? Excuse me. Okay, you have to know that because there's a very big difference between $50,000 in sales and just, the revenue that you bring in, and then 50,000 that you want to be able to have for your household. Because that 50,000 will, like, it'll be in sales, but that doesn't all come home to you because there are business expenses, right? Um, I have the number of subscriptions. One of the days I'll probably really, really break it down and share that with you guys. But just in like overhead from the subscriptions that I need to run my business, that's a couple thousand a month, couple hundred, between 100, yeah, couple hundred, high hundreds. I would say for some of the subscriptions, it's probably a little under like 1,000 just for those things, right? And then when you are making things, you like the revenue has to replenish that. When you have a business, it should be something that you can repeat, right? And that you can duplicate over and over and over again. It should not be where everything is like something new that you're purchasing and things of that nature. You got to be able to have money for maintenance and things like that. So someone could easily bring in $50,000 in revenue, but once you look at your overhead and your expenses and things like supplies and things like that, your take home could end up being like, let's say, maybe 10,000 out of that. Maybe for some less than that, especially if you don't understand how to properly price. So you can go and make 50,000, but if the overhead for it, if the profit margin is low on that, you're not bringing in enough to really make it financially, like make financial sense for your household. So those are things that you have to think of. Crafting and creating is one thing. The moment you guys say that you want to turn it into a business, you have to understand that it's a totally different ball game. How you price for real success as a crafter, you might be dibbling, dabbling, and trying a lot of different things. But for business, you're gonna have to scale back some, right? You look at designers, they may have like their runway show and they're going to have a bunch of different looks that they're going to have on that show. But once that line actually drops, it's only a few pieces from that runway show. You cannot get, like, they're not going to produce everything that you saw at that show. That is the difference in them just kind of, going through the process of like designing and creating it. But then on the business side, you have to make some cuts. Okay. Okay, let's see. I would have to go over all of that. So I can be more accurate. Yes, I understand that. I have a pricing calculator to help me break down costs. I'll be honest, most of those pricing calculators, they're for crafters for part-time because they do not take into consideration the cost of running business. They do not help you calculate your overhead. So most of them are just like, okay, put in how much it costs. How much do you want to be able to make? So in business, you have to understand the value. It's not just about how much you would like to make from it, because I mean, if that's the case, everything that we create, hey, I'm going to tack on $100. Some people say, oh, go to Etsy. Y'all do know just because someone has an Etsy shop, they're not a professional. it's a lot of startups, and because it's so easy to set up an Etsy, they're lost in the sauce, just like, other newbies. So we can't always go off of Etsy. Even if they have a bunch of sales, they might have a bunch of sales because they're undercutting themselves, and they are at home stressing the hell out because they're not really seeing the fruits of their labor. So be careful with those pricing calculators when you're talking about building a business. Okay. And if you're not sure, this is where, guys, trainings with people who have really been in the game, they have experience in the business, not just kind of just teaching about things kind of, on a broad level, but they're like, look, this is what I've experienced. This is how you break this down. This is how you figure this, and this. This were my pitfalls. This is where, this was like the good things I've figured out that works. These things didn't work for me because I do this didn't work. Thinking about my space, how much room I have, how much how well is my credit, so that I can get upgraded equipment, I can get my supplies, and buy now, basically pay later. Like, there's a lot of different things to business. And it's important, if you are new to business and you want to avoid a lot of pitfalls, you need to get with someone and get in someone's program, where you can get real guidance and mentorship. Okay. All right. So you have a silhouette form. All right. So you said that, hold on. I print in portrait, but when I cut it, it cuts wrong. Okay, what do you mean by cut wrong? Is it not on the lines? Is it way off? Is it cutting in the wrong direction? Let me know as far as, cutting wrong and what that means. What's happening when you say it's cutting it wrong. I would like to make sure that if I subscribe to another person, they will be able to share that type of info and not gatekeep. I don't know if all the time it's like gatekeeping, to be honest. Some of the top people, they really don't know, right? Some people are big because of popularity, and they don't really have a lot of experience. So they may not be gatekeeping, they just don't know. They don't have the answer. They are great, or they're good at what they have practiced on and what they have researched, and they can give you that information, but they really can't give you like a blueprint, right? I'm big on asking questions. I like to figure out like what you have going on so that I can give you some guidance. Like, that's what we do in our creative lounge. That's like a starting point. Our creative lounge isn't going to equip you with everything for your business. Some of the people in our creative lounge, they also book one-on-one sessions with me so that we can literally go through their business and go through it step by step. And that's a bigger investment for that, to get like hands-on, like direct, this is what's going on with me type of mentorship. But the creative lounge can kind of get you there because you can ask some of those questions. It's not a matter of like, let's say you ask a question, we can't address everything because we can't go and spend, hours and hours and hours on like one question in the session. It's going to take multiple sessions. So the more you show up, the more questions that you can ask, or you end up, taking that information, applying it, make a little extra money, say some things that you can book private sessions. And we also have our creative business program that will outline a lot of different things. And, you can invest in that program as well. But it's going to take like for some, it just takes continual like mentorship to get the ball rolling, and someone that has the time. And when someone is taking the time to understand your exact setup, what you are capable of, what is your capacity, you're normally going to pay more for that, for them to give you that personalized attention. Okay, wrong direction. It's like questions like this. I'm not sure if you're on Facebook, but questions like this, it's always great if you guys can accompany that with a post with like pictures. But I'll go through and you can let me know if this is exactly how you are setting it up. But all I can do is really just reiterate and just go over how to set up a print and cut. So we're going to go over the silhouette. I'm going to just go to a new page. All right. Cuts top to bottom when it should cut horizontal. So is it, all right, what's happening with the print though? So once it cuts out, is it that it's cutting into your design? Is it the wrong size? Is it, a little bit of white, too much white? What's the final result? Is it just completely off and not cutting to the contour of whatever it is that you're doing? Or is it just the order that it's cutting in? Like, that's the part I'm trying to figure out. Once it cuts, is it completely not usable because it's cutting in the wrong place? Okay, cutting into your design. All right, we're going to go through the setup of print and cut. And every time I go through a step, I'm going to stop and I'm going to ask you, okay, is this your, confirm or that this is how you have things set up, okay? First question I have for you. Are you using a silhouette mat? Are you using a non-silhouette mat? That's the first question. Silhouette mat or non-silhouette mat? Hey, just say. Okay, so you have a silhouette mat. All right. And you say you're using 8.5 by 11 paper, correct? What printer are you using? This is why I love our creative lounge guys, because when we have questions like this, you don't have to like type it out. We literally have dialogue back and forth. You are able to unmute. I ask a question, you can like immediately answer. That's one of the like best parts of the creative lounge and being in those live Zoom sessions. If you have not looked into it, at least try it out for a month, guys. It will not hurt. Like, I promise you, you're only going to gain, even from just being in it for 1 month, you'll gain more than what you pay, which is $36. If you do just 1 month, it'll end up being $36.50. You'll gain so much more and like be able, just from that little bit, like the couple of sessions, you'll have access to watch any of the playbacks, attend any of the live sessions, and just in those, you will 10x that amount. Okay, so you have an Epson 2850, all right? So that one, I kind of can go over settings. All right, so you have your 8.5 by 11. You have it set to auto or Cameo 4. You're going to have your mat to 12 by 12 or 12 by 24. I'll just go 12 by 12. I only have 12 by 24 inch mat, so mine pretty much stays on that. So I'll just go to 12 by 12, right? So here, we're all good, right? This is exactly how you have it set up. 8.5 by 11. You have your machine selected. You have a machine selected. It doesn't say none. So you have that selected. You have your mat set and you have your media size. If you don't have a machine, well, one, it may not cut. But if you don't have a mat, that means that the system is seeing it as if it is loading with no mat, as if it's media only, like you're doing just HTV or adhesive vinyl where you're going to do kiss cuts. So it's going to pick up in different areas. It might cut incorrectly. So you have to make sure, if you are doing a print cut, we're talking just paper, that you do have a machine selected and you do have a cutting mat selected. Okay, so we are yes. Now we're going to go over to the last icon, which is for your registration marks. Okay, we're going to turn that on. Now, my recommendation is just to automatically increase your thickness. It doesn't make any sense for it to be thin. It doesn't take away, add anything to the design. It's best to increase your thickness. Welcome to everyone that has come in. We are answering questions. You do not have to wait for me to finish this question to ask yours. We prefer to have questions in the queue. So go ahead. If you have questions for me, drop them in the chat. That way, once we're done with this question, we can jump right to yours. Okay. So we have this set on. Like I said, I personally take everything up, or I take it all the way up and max it out. Okay. Now here, it's a personal preference on what you want your link to be. And for now, I'm not going to do too much. Well, I'll ask you this. Do you adjust your insets, or do you leave everything at default? Okay, everything at default. So you stated that, I'm going to go back up here. You're trying to cut 2 5x7 cards. I asked about paper size. I don't think you confirmed or said another paper size. Are you using 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 14-inch paper? What size paper are you using? Because you're using default settings. And while you're writing that, and I went ahead and made a box that's like 5x7. At 5x7, there's no way that you're going to be able to fit them on the silhouette screen with 8.5 by 11-inch paper with the registration marks. There is no way for you to fit 2 5x7s side by side on this without making any adjustments. So you're using 8.5 by 11. This is most likely where your issue lies at, right? Even if we were to come over here and take our length and go all the way down, you are still outside of that. So it's not going to ever cut it. And this is 5x7. There's no way to do that without making adjustments. Okay. It shouldn't even cut the bottom of your, like, your second card. Now, if we adjust the insets, we will get a little bit more space, right? And I'm going to take this back to default. Well, not default, but like in here, okay? All right, so you said, okay. Now, let me ask you this. When you were looking at your screen, did your design cover up your registration mark? Like, were they in the area of your registration marks? Okay, yeah, that's your main issue. That's going to be the issue right there. Nothing can be in the area of your registration marks. They cannot cover them. When your machine goes to register or read them, the color from your design is interfering with that. So that's where pretty much your issue lies. We have a ton of videos on our YouTube channel that goes over print and cut setup. That's like dedicated videos. These were many, many years ago. I know some people are looking for like an updated one. You want one within the last couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of, a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months. In the last couple of years, I pretty much do live broadcasts. So you do have to click on that live one to really find a lot of videos, or do a search of Silaholics Anonymous and then say like print and cut. There are some videos that were like pre-recorded, or they're like just straight to it. And then others are a part of live, like longer live broadcasts. But the pre-recorded stuff is like years ago. Most of my content now, you're going to find it under the live tab, or you have to do like a search for it. Okay. So You don't have to cut one per page. You have to have it set up properly. You have to have it set up properly. Okay. So this is what we're going to go over now. Right now at 5x7, right? And with a length of 0.5, these cards would still impede the registration areas, right? So right here, you can see, oh, come on, wrong way. That green is going into the hash mark area. You don't want that. On this side, the green is in that hash mark area. Down here, we're in that hash mark area. So you can decrease the length, right? So I'm going to zoom out some. And we're going to decrease this. And let's see. It would almost have to be like, it can still be a little bit off because we're down to like 0.285 to be able to fit this in here. I can go over like just a little bit. It may still, it's just because of how it reads the registration marks. So just be very mindful of that. Like doing 8.5 by 11 for 2 5x7s does get a little dicey, gets a little tricky. It's better if you have wider paper for it. It may not be the most like accurate doing it this way. And you may need to do like some additional like trimming. This is why, like in our design class, we just had a design class on Wednesday for cards, and I was teaching them about bleeds and things of that nature to make sure that it's going to cut properly. I just added the information on how to set up a double-sided print. I just added that bonus content to that training. You can go to our website, you can enroll in it. It doesn't matter if it's live. If it's not, you're not in the Zoom session, you can post questions on each of the videos. You get access to the student union where you can ask questions if you're, on Facebook. And with the playbacks, you can pause, fast forward, rewind, take your notes. So enrolling in the class and watching the playbacks can be more beneficial than being in the live session. The only major difference with being in the live session is those who are there can ask questions in real time. You get to hear all of those questions that people ask in real time. So this class, any class that I do, it's not a class where, oh man, I missed the live session and, now I'm just going to get a pre-recorded video. No, it's that live session. So if a newbie like yourself asks a question, it's on the recording. And if they did not ask any, questions that you may have had during that recording, you can always post it in the student union. And every single video has an option for you to leave a comment and you can ask your question there. If you combine that with being a member of the Creative Lounge, which is a monthly membership, every single Monday, you have an opportunity to be on a live Zoom, and we have a small open Q&A session at the beginning, and then we get into whatever the topic is for that day. And we also have pro calls that's just straight Q&A. So get involved in both, get some classes, but also the Creative Lounge. That's like your bridge between watching playbacks of videos and getting real-time help. So Creative Lounge, great place to be. If you do a monthly subscription, it's like in a reoccurring one, it's $25.63 per month. If you do month to month, it's $36.50. There's options to do a 3-month subscription. So there's a lot of different options on there. And we do have options for Klarna, Sezzle, and things of that. Klarna, Afterpay, things of that nature. Okay. So you can, like I said, you can decrease the length. Once you decrease the length, now you can fit them on there a little bit better and not impede the registration areas. If it's still kind of cutting funky, then you want to just do one. Like you said, I would recommend putting an offset or a bleed on it. If it's a solid color, you can always just use print bleed. If it is a background that you're filling in, you want to create everything to the edge of that bleed. Okay. So hopefully that helps. All right. I don't see any new questions. All right. I'm going to address some questions or some issues or it's questions that come up on sizing. It's things that I feel like you guys need to know. And if we don't have any questions, that will be the end of this. We'll go ahead and close out after I answer or I show you guys different orientations and how the different orientations will affect your design. Okay. So I took the liberty of creating basically 3 different setups, right? And here is kind of sort of the original, right? A lot of times, especially with like the AI stuff, a lot of these things are created in a square, depending on which AI image generator you're using. Free ones pretty much come out in a square. Some of the paid ones give you the option to choose a layout, like they'll be like, a 16 by 9, 9 by 16, if it's a square, things of that nature. But for the most part, a lot of these things come basically in a square format, right? So looking at these images and, with the way the background is and the word love, love is going pretty much to the edge of the square. And then we have the little cute puppies in there, and his ear is in, like, it's touching the V and the E. It's not like all the way to the end, right? If I were to click on this one to make it, bigger and go to the end of the word love, within that space, it's not big enough to have them go all the way to the end and kind of see all of them without covering up the words because of the sizing, because of that proportion. Okay. So we're going to just shrink this. I'm just going to undo on that part. Okay. Now we're going to come over to this one, which was set up for 5 by 7. It gives you a little bit more room to play with, but you now have a lot of extra at the top and at the bottom. If you're wanting it to look really tight and not have like negative space, you can't really have both of those. You can't force this image to fill in a portrait, a layout that is long. You can't have a feeling. You're going to have some negative space around it. Okay. Now you can play around with the sizing. So if we made this look exactly like this one, where it's to the inside, it just becomes a little bit smaller and you're left with more negative space. That's why it's important to set your design area, your page size. It varies on, like, if you're setting a design up for a specific like template or thing, or you're doing it for a page size. Those things vary. And you learn more about that when you're in design classes that teach you from the ground up, and it really breaks down the fundamentals. This is not something that's just, okay, 1 or 2 videos, you're going to master this. There's science to it, right? There's information, education, where you're not even touching a design. You're not moving things around. Just getting that information and that know-how of how things should be set up is very, 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 very important. Okay. Now over here, it's set up for 11 by 17. Now we're left with a lot more negative space, because the elements for this are kind of sort of squarish, like even if you max them out, and you're left with a lot of extra space. So you're either going to have this like sit at the bottom and now you have more space to put something at the top, or it can be here, you now have space to put things at the bottom. So with how everyone is designing like the cards now, and everyone wants to put the little plastic pieces like at the bottom, in this orientation, they would need to be a little bit smaller so that you can have a little bit more space at the bottom. If it's a square that you're putting there, I mean, that becomes even smaller so that you can fit that square, like plastic cover or lid on there, right? So that's this particular image may not fill it out the way you want. You may have to then add other things to it. The more space you have, sometimes you need fillers and you have to rearrange your fillers. So with this one, if it was a 5x7 one and you're going to put not a full square and maybe one of those smaller ones, you can go like this and the main elements still look big. They take up a good amount of a good portion of the card. And then you can put your rectangle, like, because there's some people that are using the soap boxes, the clear ones, and it's like they're just putting little treats and things in it. And that is rectangular. You can fit that in this space. If it was something that was square and you're wanting to put that on there, you wouldn't be able to have this stand out. If you had that same like little square, rectangle clear box that you would put like on a 5x7, but you wanted to put this on a tag, they then have to be really, really small to have the same clearance for that little box. Make sense? It's one thing to kind of take classes and learn how to just put things on the screen. But if you're not learning fundamentals of composition and layout and understanding proportion, your designs just aren't going to flow. Let's see, like on this one, because it's a square, the positioning of how she's positioned, you can have the Happy Valentine's Day right next to her face off to the side. But for a larger one, you can't do that because you don't have as much space. It's going to have to be smaller, or you're going to have to shrink it down to make it smaller. This particular image is cut off at the bottom. So you're not going to be able to get the same look because the proportions are totally, totally different. You'll have to rearrange it, okay? All right. Well, I don't see any other questions posted. I'll give you guys one more opportunity. If not, we'll go ahead and wrap this session up. Y'all keep telling me, oh, Professor, do you ever do the weekend? You ever do the weekend? I'm on the weekend and y'all are still crickets. Okay, so I do see a question. Good thing I went to my phone because you posted it in the group, and for some reason it does not show on my main one. So it's a comment in the group. So her question was, what is BNPL? So I'm guessing you're on our website. BNPL stands for buy now, pay later, which normally I try to put the actual words in the description. So make sure you guys are reading the description. Yes, the payment like button will just say BNPL, but in the description it explains that. So but BNPL stands for buy now, pay later. That is your like 4 payment options like Sezzle, Klarna, Afterpay, Shop Pay, PayPal, buy now, pay later. And then on the bigger side of like, it's like cost a lot. Some platforms have what's called Affirm, and things of that nature. So that is what BNPL is, buy now, pay later. When you go and you check out on the website, they're going to break that up into like 4 payments. If it's something that's a really, high ticket item and a firm is available, they'll normally break it up over the course of like 6 months or a year, depending on how much it is. But normally when it's something that's small, you're going to have a payment every 2 weeks. So let's say you want the card class. Well, right now, that class for buy now, pay later, the price has gone up. It's $40.30, and you divide that by 4. So today, instead of paying $40, you would pay around $10, and then in 2 weeks, they're going to automatically take the $10 from whatever card that you put on file. 2 weeks from that, they're going to take another $10. 2 weeks from that, $10. So up until they've gotten 4 payments of $10 and some change to pay off that 40. It's no difference. Like there's no extra charges to you, but you are able to get, something that you may not have all of the actual like cash on hand. If you got a portion of it, you apply for the buy now, pay later options, and they'll approve you, and you can just keep using the buy now, pay later options. Well, we did not make this on screen. I just use it as an example of sizing, but thank you. All right, let's see. All right, I don't see any other notifications that may have a question on it. Hold on, let me see what this one is. Nope, that's for something else I helped someone with. All right. I know you just joined, Paula, but if you have a question for me, something that you just need help, guidance with, that has you like in a chokehold, this is our live help session to provide help, support, guidance. And I'm sharing my 26 years of experience in all areas that I have experience in. If you have questions in it, I'm answering it. So since you did say you're just coming on, let me know if you have a question. If not, I'll go ahead and end this because I've extended that invitation to post your questions. We've been on for about 55 minutes now. We've had 2 questions so far? 3 questions, I guess, with the buy now, pay later. I normally do these around like 10 o'clock during the weekdays. I try to make sure I come on Wednesdays. This past Wednesday, I was not able to do it because Zanimani had appointments. And I know like that's an inconvenient time for a lot of the people that follow me. So I try every once in a while to come on a Saturday to do this live Q&A and provide you guys help. Outside of that, you can always get real-time help, be able to unmute, share your screen, and just get help in real time in our Creative Lounge. Our Creative Lounge is on our Academy site. You can enroll in that. You're going to look for the purple thumbnail. And all the cost breakdowns are there for the Creative Lounge. Okay. If you have any questions about what you get in there, you can also put that in the chat. Last call. The questions in this video were not like, game changing. So most likely, I will delete this video because it's just kind of, to have a one that's 57 and there's not a lot of questions in it. So this video will not stay up. I know I normally get that question, and normally I say it stays up, but that's normally when there's like some really good teaching in it. For here, it was kind of just going over print and cut. We've had that a couple of times, and then just information about buy now, pay later. So, alrighty, no other questions. Until next time, guys, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.